All three of these cameras have unique features that make them different from each other, but they also have a lot of similar features too, which makes it very confusing when you're trying to decide which one to buy. The way that you shoot with each of these cameras though, and the way that you edit, is what makes them really unique. And by the end of this video, you'll know which style of shooting is best for you, so you can choose the right camera. The most powerful thing about shooting with the X4 is that it's so simple to shoot with, and you don't have to worry about the position of the camera. Once you've set your shooting mode, you just press record and off you go. The camera sees everything because it's a 360 camera with lenses on both sides. And you can have a very lazy, passive approach to filming with this camera. You can just hold it up in the air on a selfie stick, or attach it to your bike or your car. You can just stand there and hold it out in front of you, or hold it while you walk or while you run. You don't have to think about the framing or whether you're in shot. If you can see the camera lens, then the camera can see you. It's a camera that allows you to capture the moment while you get on and enjoy being in the moment. You don't have to think about what the camera is doing. You shoot now and you point it later. If you want to be more creative with this camera, then you can, and you can move away from this passive approach and make your shots look more dynamic. You can use an extended selfie stick. You can add some dynamic moves which will make your shots look more cinematic. The magic of a 360 camera is that the selfie stick gets hidden in your final shots, so that it appears like the camera is floating in front of you, or by the side of you, or behind you. And this means that you can get those drone style follow shots easily. Out of all three of the cameras in this video, the X4 is definitely the one that feels more vulnerable because of the two lenses that stick out from the camera's body. The camera does come with lens guards which give you that peace of mind when getting action shots, but ideally you'd shoot without these to get the best image quality. The major difference once you've shot your video with the X4 is that in order to share it on social media or to watch it like a standard video, you have to reframe it. The X4 currently has the highest resolution for a 360 action camera on the market at 8K resolution. This 8K is shared around the entire 360 image, so that when you do reframe your video to a standard video, you use the Insta360 app or the Insta360 Studio software, and you add what are called keyframes. And when you add keyframes, you are reducing the image quality because you're taking a section of that 8K footage. And by adding keyframes, this allows you to tell the software which part of your 360 image you want to use in your final video. And whilst adding keyframes does give you the most control over your footage that you shoot with the X4, Insta360 have some much simpler ways of editing your footage if you want an easier option. You can use the deep track feature that will keep you in the middle of the frame and track you wherever you go. And also there's an auto reframing option which will give you different reframe versions of your shots. And the easiest method is the Auto AI edit, which will reframe several shots and cut them together into a short video with music. And you also have the quick edit feature. And this allows you to edit by moving your phone around to frame your shot, or you can use this mini virtual joystick. And if all this sounds like too much work, the camera does have two other shooting modes as well. And these modes can make your workflow a lot easier. You can shoot in single lens mode, which, as the name suggests, only uses one of the camera's lenses. You can still easily take advantage of having two lenses on the camera because you can easily switch from one lens to the other to change which direction you're shooting in. And there's also Me mode. And Me mode takes advantage of the 360 capability of the camera and takes advantage of the two lenses, but it automatically edits the video for you in camera, so you don't have to reframe it. So you simply hold the camera out in front of you or to the side and you achieve those floating camera style shots effortlessly. If you want a more traditional single lens action camera, then the Ace Pro is the next one on the list. This has more of a traditional action camera design with one lens. It does feel more robust and more compact, however there is no removable lens guard. So if you're doing more extreme action shots, then that is a consideration. However, Insta360 will replace a damaged lens free of charge within the first year of purchase. You just have to pay the postage. When you shoot with this camera, because there is one lens, you have to point it towards the subject you are filming, and then if you want to change the direction of the shot, you have to change the direction of the camera. This isn't difficult, but it is something to consider on a bike, for example, where you'd have to reposition it several times to get multiple shots, compared with the one position of the X4 with two lenses. The beauty of this camera is the huge LCD screen, because when you do need to reposition the camera, you can easily see the shot on the screen in front of you. And if you're filming yourself, you can fold the screen right up and see yourself clearly. This camera has the highest resolution of all the cameras in this comparison video. It shoots 8K video, and because it shoots 8K with one lens in one direction, that's an 8K video with no compromise. The image quality is superior, and the camera has a 1/1.3 inch sensor, larger than both the X4 and the GO 3. And it uses a fast 5nm chip, which is the same as the X4. I know that the X4 can shoot 8K as well, but remember that 8K is shared around the entire 360 image. This camera shoots 8K with one lens in one direction. One really cool feature with this camera is clarity zoom, and this allows you to zoom into the image with a ×2 zoom with virtually no loss of quality. The killer feature with this camera is the ability to shoot in low light, creating images that beat the other two cameras by a mile. And this camera smashes the competition as well, with cameras like GoPro that just can't come anywhere close to this camera in low light. The Ace Pro uses pure video mode to achieve these results, and the images are almost noise free. The 8K does have its limitations though, in that you can only shoot at 24 frames per second. But there are a number of other resolution and frame rate options to choose from, including slow motion in 4K at 120 frames per second. All of the video clips that you shoot with the Ace Pro are usable straight out of the camera, with no editing needed. Of course, you will want to edit multiple clips together though, but this is made easier with Insta360's AI Assist feature. And this recognises interesting parts of your video and it highlights them, and it makes it easier to edit the best bits of your video later on your phone using the Insta360 app. And if you're looking at buying more than one of Insta360's cameras, it's important to note that all of their camera range uses the same mobile app, and this makes the whole editing experience much more convenient. So we've looked at a 360 camera and we've looked at a more traditional single lens action camera. So what else could the GO 3 offer that the other two don't? Well, the GO 3 offers creativity and versatility, as well as all the functions of a standard action camera all in one. As a standard point and shoot camera, the GO 3 takes on a similar action camera form factor as the Ace Pro. It's a robust rectangular design, but has a slightly smaller fold out screen on the back. Shooting with it in this way, in what's called the action pod, you'll get a battery life of around 120 minutes. Compare this to the Ace Pro shooting in 4K and you'll get a battery life of around 100 minutes. But this is nowhere as long as the battery life of the X4, where you can shoot in 5.7K for 135 minutes. The battery and the memory is built into the GO 3, so you can't change the battery, and you have to choose your memory capacity when you purchase your camera. Because the screen and the camera lens are much smaller, the camera feels much more robust than either of the other two cameras. And the lens has user replaceable lens guards that simply screw in place. The killer feature with the GO 3 though is the size and the versatility of this camera when you take it out of the action pod. Use it by itself and it's only slightly bigger than my thumb. It has a magnet on the back so you can stick it to any magnetic surface. And it comes in the box with various compact mounts that give you so much flexibility when choosing where you want to film. Creatively, this is one of the best action cameras on the market, and it's very hard to compare to any other action camera because the size and the shots you get with it are just so unique. You're only limited by your imagination with this camera because with a little bit of thought you can mount it pretty much anywhere and get shots that would otherwise be impossible. One weakness of the GO 3 when you use it out of the action pod is the battery life, and it runs for around 30 minutes when you shoot 2.7K. But the beauty here though is that you can put the camera back in the action pod and then it will recharge it. And the action pod can recharge the GO 3 camera 3 or 4 times before you then need to recharge the action pod itself. And whether the camera is being used independently or inside the action pod, you can use the same magnetic mounting bracket and mount the camera in the same way that you'd mount a standard action camera. In terms of resolution with the GO 3, well, you can't have everything. And the GO 3 just can't compete with the image quality of the Ace Pro or the X4. It has a smaller sensor and can only record at a maximum resolution of 2.7K. But I think the GO 3 is a good example of a camera where you just can't look at the camera spec to help you make your decision. The shots that you get with this and the way that you use this camera is just so unique, it's very hard to compare. This is the camera you choose if you want really unique shots and the ability to mount your camera pretty much anywhere. And you're not that concerned about long battery life. The Ace Pro is for those that want a more traditional design point and shoot action camera, and especially for those where your focus is on low light filming and high resolution images. The X4 is for those that want total flexibility in the way that they shoot and the way that they edit, and for those that want to push their creativity further and who are willing to accept the steeper learning curve in order to get the most out of their camera. And if you want to know more about the X4, you can watch this video next, and I'll see you over there.